Good morning, students. So in today's video I'll be showing you how to run the Oracle software. Alright, so and then do some simple SQL queries at first. So how to create a table, how to insert the values into the table, and how to run some SQL queries. Clear? So this is very important because I have seen that most of you are struggling in this SQL, but it's obvious. It's actually a very simple query language, right? So for that you'll be needing this software. Okay, this around 200 something MB like that. So I'll be uploading this in the classroom. You can download it. For those of you who are using um, laptop or desktop computers, you can install this one. And for those of you who are using your mobile phone, there are lots of apps, SQL or Oracle apps there in the Play Store. I'll show you some. You can refer to that. So this once you click on this and once you install this, okay, so you just have to follow next, next, next like that, and then it will ask for you a password. So you have to enter the password twice, and after that you just have to launch it. Clear? So once it is done, what you have to do is that you have to go to the start button and then click on here, right, and then go to the folder Oracle database 10G Express edition, and then after that you click on this, go to database home page. So you click on this, then it will take you to the browser. So here you see that you here the username. By default the username is system, right? So you have to type system, and then the password, I've written my password as SQL 123. It depends on you, whichever you can remember. So and then you press on login. Now once you are there, you click on this SQL, and then in this SQL commands. So here this is the workspace where you'll be typing all your queries, right? And so the result will be here. I've already created a table, right? So to save the time, so here from the textbook, if you see that I've created this table, right? So this table, as you can see here, you use the create tables in syntax, create table name. So here the table name is teacher. So here you can see that within the parentheses, opening and closing bracket, and it's ended by the semicolon. So these are the column names: T number, T name, T address, salary, DPT underscore number, and DOJ, right? So you can see that the column names can have underscore also, but you should start for better readability, or you should start with the alphabets. All right. So you can see that for every column there is a data type mentioned. Here I have mentioned here character, and within this bracket, within this parenthesis, the 4 represents the length of the values that will be inserted in this T number, in this case column, or in this case this is the variable. Alright, so this is the variable. So here in this T number, all the teachers number will be of 4 values. Clear? Or yes, the difference between this CHR and this VAR CHR2, or in some case you can also use VAR CHR, VAR. So character is a fixed length data type, and variable character is a variable length. That's VAR stands for variable length. So here the difference is, this is fixed length, means if you whenever you want to use this data type, you have to be sure that you use up all of the size as given, or if at all you do not use it, the remaining unused space will be left with blank space. So what happens is, here the fixed length means every character occupies 1 byte of memory. In the case of this, also it occupies 1 byte. However, here suppose the teacher number is t01. So you have the size given as 4 bytes, so it will occupy all the 4 bytes. However, the last byte will be remain blank, right? Still then, uh, the compiler will reserve 4 bytes exactly for that. In the case of this, 25 bytes is given here, right? For the t name. But if suppose the length of the name is only say like 10 alphabets, that means it will occupy 10 bytes and not 25 bytes plus 1 byte or 2 byte extra, since in this case it is a string, right? String value. So in this case is a character value. So now, be it character or variable character, it can, the input values can be alphabets, letters, okay, numbers, digits, or special characters also. So as you can see in this teacher address also, it has variable character and size 30. In case of salary column, the data type is number. Now regarding the data types, there are lots of data types, all right? There are lots of data types, but as per your textbook, these are the data types that are mentioned, so we'll be using only this one. So here number, and you can write here number, and then within the parentheses also you can just write, mention, just say like 7 or 5, like that. But here, just to make you understand that this 7 comma 2, this 7 represents the precision and 2 represents the scale. That means 2 represents in case if there is a decimal point value in the salary, so this 2 represents that the digits after the decimal point. So this 7 represents the total digits, the total numbers for the salary, right? So that means if this is 2, then on the left hand side of the decimal point there will be 5 digits, and on the right hand side there will be 2 digits. Yeah. In case of the department number, also this character, and here date of joining, which is also a mixture of, you can say the values are input values, a mixture of characters, could be slash or hyphen, and then alphabets for the months, and then for the year, and for the date it will be like numbers, digits. So it's a mixture of alphanumeric characters, right? So we can use this varchar also, but for in SQL, for a date format, it has its own data type called as date. So for when you use this date data type, you do not need to mention the size. As you can see that no size is mentioned, no fixed size is mentioned, clear? So when you use this date data type, uh, then there is a specific format that has to be entered, like suppose like mmddyy or ddmmmyyyy, like that, clear? So that minimizes the errors. So here, this table I've already created, okay, in order to save time. But let's say that one more thing that you need to know is that once a table is created with this table name, you cannot create another table with the same name. All right, so you have to change, you either you have to drop the teacher table, or you have to rename, say like another the teacher table with another um, name. Suppose like in this case, say like if you see here, if I try to run this, uh, name is already used by an existing object, so that means this teacher table is already existing, right? So that's why we cannot use this. So what we have to do is that, suppose like create table teacher, and then let's say or let's say teacher 1. All right, so now if I do like this, then when you click on run, you see that the table is already created, right? So now we have two teacher tables, one is teacher and the other one is teacher 1, right? Now after creating the table, the next step is to start entering the values, so inserting the values. For that we have to use the dml command, that is the insert into, right? So here this is how you insert, right, the values. So here you can see that the insert command, insert into, and here you do not mention the word table, but just insert into teacher, because you have to mention which table name, right? So that's why the table name is must. insert into this table name teacher. And here this is optional. Okay, this is not compulsory that you have to mention the column name, but this is just for good programming practice, so that whenever you are entering the first value, you should know that okay, its teacher number value is first, t name is second, t address is third, like that. Because how you have created the column, when you created the column, you created t number, t name, t address first, right? So based on that, you have to enter the values when you are starting entering the first values. Because if you enter suppose like Rakesh Sharma first and then T01 second, the column and the values are not matching, right? So that's why always a good programming practice that when you're inserting the first value, you mention the column name. You do not need to mention the data type and then the size assigned to the column, because once you have created table that has the compiler already knows. So this is just for so that you do not make the mistake while entering the values. Clear? So after you enter the values, you can remove this. The second time you can insert the values, right? So first you can see that this insert into teacher the column name within the one bracket, and then this close values. So this tells the compiler that okay, start inserting these values within this parenthesis. So you can see that T01, since it is character, be it character or variable character or that value, you have to insert under single quote. So here T01. Now for this T number, the size mentioned was 4 bytes, right? But here 3 bytes are used up. The remaining 1 byte, it will be blank, but still then the compiler will allocate 4 bytes for this particular row of data T01. Now then to enter the next value, you have to use semicolon. Yes, also remember that when you're creating the teacher table, you should see that the columns are separated by comma, okay, not semicolon. Only when you terminate the line you use the semicolon, but in between you use comma. So here Rakesh Sharma, as you can see that this is string, so you can have spaces in between. So one thing you have to be know is that the alphabets are case sensitive. When you're inserting the input values for the suppose like t name or address as such, you can see that R is in capital letter and S is also in capital letter. So when you're searching in the query for suppose like Rakesh Sharma, if R is if you don't search like R in lowercase, then you will not get that output. Clear? So here Rakesh Sharma is in R is in capital letter, S is in capital letter, right? So similarly here, uh, you can see that address is, it contains numbers, it contains special characters, hyphen, there's a space, blank space in between, alphabets are used. And now for salary, so here you can see that there are, this is just it's not written in between single quote, because this is a number value, right? So this is an integer value. So you can see that 5 digits are here. So here department is also a character, so it's D01. So D is in capital, and then you can see the date format, that is 01. Okay. Oh yeah, this one is not equal to, but this is, yeah, hyphen. So here 01 dash May dash 2020, right? So it has to be in this format. So that is day, month has to be the first three alphabets, right? So suppose like June, JUN, all right? So suppose like, okay, let's say that in this teachers table I insert another row, suppose like values T11, right? Then say like Rohit Sharma, and okay, 25 or 5, um say Dobinala Road, okay, and let's say the salary is 23,500. Department is say like D05, and in here you see that, let's say that instead of May I put 05. All right, so then I click run. Now see, you can see that the error, not a valid month. Okay, so when you are using the date data type, so it shows that it has to follow a specific pattern for entering the data. So in that case you cannot use this number for the month. So like you have to use this, or suppose like December, right? So DC, right? So now when I click run, you see that one row inserted. All right, so this is how you insert the values one by one. Okay, one row of data at a time, like that. So after you insert the values, right, after you insert the values, the next step is, let's say that you want to see the table that you have created, right? So if you want to see the table that you have created, then what you have to do is that in order to display all the tables contents, then you have to say select, okay, and then this asterisk symbol, that is star, okay. So which means that display all the columns and all the data that are there in the table, and then you use the from clause. This from clause is associated with the table name. All right, so teacher, and then you click on run. So this displays all the table data. So you can see that when you say select star from teacher, it will display all the column and then all the data associated row by row. So you start in entering row by row of data. So as you can see, that the department numbers, you have the D0125, it's repeated, okay. But this is not repeated, right? So so this is select star from teacher. Now I have created another table, right? Select that is teacher 1. So if I since I have not inserted any data in there, so if I say select star from teacher 1 and I say like I click run, then since there's no data, no data is found. So I have not inserted any value, right? So always remember that after creating the table, you have to insert the value next, and then after inserting the value, if you want to check the table, then you just say select star from teacher, and then you run this, right? So this is, when you say select star, that means it will display all the columns associated with that table and all the data values that is associated with that table, right? So that is the first query that you will learn, okay, that you have to learn. Then yeah, there are also other commands like update, alter commands, okay, which you will see at a later date. Now if suppose using the select query you can do a lot of things, okay. Now using the when you use the select query, it does not mean that it will manipulate on the table. It will just display the table. Now this is the original table, right? This is the original table. So now when you use star, it will display everything. But let's say that you want to you want only certain columns to be displayed, right? You want only certain columns to be displayed. So now the column name, as you can see that you have written that in lowercase, but here it comes out in uppercase, right? So it is not case sensitive in that. So suppose like T number, okay, and then T name. So you want to display the teacher number and teacher name. So you can see that this will display only a certain columns, that is which is written before the from clause. So when you mention that, now the order of the column displayed is irrelevant, okay. That is like I've written here T number, T name, and then let's say that I write here T number, okay, and then what was that, salary, right? So salary here. So T number, T name, T number, salary. So now it will display like that. Now the original table is the original table starts with T number, T name, T address, salary, like that, right? So but keep in mind that the select query is the select command is just used to display the data as how you want it. Okay, this does not change the order of the columns in the original table. Clear? So select keyword does not modify the original table. Clear? So this is how, so if you want to retrieve specific columns only, so this is how you run the SQL query. Clear? So if the query is about like write an SQL query to display the teacher number, teacher name, salary from the teachers table, then you have to write like this. All right. So that is the second query that you have to learn on that. Clear? Now, um, the third step is if you want to retrieve from the table, okay, based on a certain condition. So like say like here, if you move to the original table, select start from teacher, okay, you have to say, and then yeah. So now let's say that you want to retrieve only certain data based on a certain condition. Then in that case you use what is called as the where clause. So the where clause is associated with a column and the value that is associated with the column. Suppose like this column and the value associated with this column. So if that condition is true, then the query will run and then the table will be displayed, right? So suppose like this, select star from teacher, okay, so where say like t number equals to, so now t number equals to if you remember that the teacher number value was inserted under single quote, right? So you have to use that. Then suppose like t05, so you have to close it like this. No data found. Yes, why no data found? Because here like I said, it is case sensitive, right? T, when you enter the data, it was capital letter, right? So now here it is a lowercase letter, so that's why the it is not matching, the data value is not matching, the alphabets are not matching. So that's why you enter here T05 and then you get the output, the row of this data, the entire row, because here you said select star from, right? Now if you just mention here select t number, t name, and then say like date of joining from teacher, where t number equals to t05, then you will see that only 3 columns will be displayed, right? So this is, so based on the query question you have to run this query. So you can see that it's very simple. Okay, it's very simple, but the thing is that you have to remember all these keywords. So each, in exam time, each query carries one mark, so it's very easy to score these marks. Now one thing also you have to understand that when you're creating, if the data type is mentioned character, variable, character, or date, you should not forget to use this single quote, right? Now in some softwares it will run, but in most of softwares without using the single quote for the characters it won't run. So like see, invalid identifier, because this is not identified. Clear? So you have to use the single quote in that case here, like this. Now in the case of suppose like salary, um suppose like I hope okay so you see that I'm not using the single quote because it's a number value, right? So no data found because there is no one who has a 21,000, right? So let's say less than or equal to 21,000. In that case you are using the relational operator. In that case you can see that it's able to display teachers who have salary less than or 21,000 or equal to 21,000. Okay, so this is how you use the relational operator also, right? So the where clause you can use with lots of operators, all right? So we shall see the other operators with the where clause also, and using the other clause also. Okay, So for today you practice on this. Okay, so I'll be sharing the software with you. You can download it from the classroom, and then for those of you who wants to do it from your mobile phone, okay, but keep in mind that doing it from your computer is much more better than doing it from your mobile phone, right? So after that, what you have to do is that, yeah, keep in mind that since this database content, whatever you do, whatever you work out will be here. So even if you shut down your computer also and you open it tomorrow, okay, the data that you have created, the table that you have created will exist. Okay, it's not like the C++ program where once you have, if you do not save it, okay, it will go away like that. So what you do is that then you log out, right? So you log out now. All right.